welcome back to the One Idjit's Thoughts on Podcast. This is Paul Mackey. Today is day 12 of the Dog Days of Podcasting Challenge, and you can go find a master feed with all participants in the challenge at dogdaysofpodcasting.com. And as mentioned yesterday, Darcy's birthday is today, so we'll be celebrating that all day long. So today I'll be bringing you the answers to the trivia questions presented yesterday. This would probably be an ideal time for you to stop this episode and listen to the previous one if you missed it and wanted to play along. Question 1 from 2014, and you defeat them with three-part harmony. This is Gravity Falls Season 2, Episode 1, Scarioki, and that they defeated a horde of zombies. This one inspired the quiz when I recognized the similarity to the other musical answers coming up later. Question 2. From 1984. Sharing one particular weakness of vampires, you can kill these with sunlight. Gremlins will get you both points for this one. I have been profiling a lot of voice actors lately, and while it's a well-known fact that Howie Mandel performed the voice of Gizmo the Mogwai in the film, it's a bit more trivial to point out legendary voice performer Frank Welker, who performed the lead gremlin known as Stripe. Like some of the other voice actors I've profiled, Frank has done many animal and creature voices over the years, along with being the voice of Fred Jones on Scooby-Doo for the majority of the Scooby properties. While he worked alongside Jeff Bennett as the titular Curious George, Frank Welker never performed on Gravity Falls. But now the hard question, is Gremlins a Christmas movie? Question 3. Staying in the 80s, an apocalyptic conclusion was avoided by making them play tic-tac-toe in this 1983 techno-thriller. This is John Badham's War Games, and the computer that learned not to launch missiles by starting with tic-tac-toe went by the name of Whopper for War Operation Plan Response. I didn't find definitive documentation, aside from people bringing it up as a fascinating fact on message boards, so I'll use the mighty allegedly when I say that, allegedly, a computer used in real-life NORAD for gaming out war plan scenarios went by the acronym BRGR, or Burger, so the Whopper name was a play on that. Question number 4. Swing away at this one. These baddies certainly made a bad choice in 2002. The Earth's surface is over 70% covered in water, and yet water is a means to defeat them. This was M. Night Shyamalan's Signs, starring Mel Gibson and Joaquin Phoenix, where they repelled the aliens with water. Many people did not have a problem with this follow-up to Shyamalan's Sixth Sense and Unbreakable, but I think the tone of my question gives away what I thought at the time. Question 5. In 1996, the heroes made a use of a recording of Slim Whitman's yodeling to defeat the bad guys. In Tim Burton's Mars Attacks, the protagonists defeat the invading Martians by playing Slim Whitman yodeling in the somewhat uncomfortably titled Indian Love Call. The song actually dates back to 1924, and it's from a Broadway operetta entitled Rose Marie. One of the lyricists credited is Oscar Hammerstein. Whitman's version was recorded in 1952, and it not only charted at number 2 on the Billboard Country and Western charts, but it crossed over to the pop top 10 as well. The 45 was backed with China Doll, which seems like it could be doubling down on cultural insensitivity, but luckily was referring to porcelain china and has no cultural references in the lyrics. Question 6. This adversary from 1958 seemed unstoppable until the heroes attacked with CO2 fire extinguishers, freezing it until it could be transported to the Arctic, where it will remain frozen, as long as the Arctic stays cold. This was another 2-pointer if you got it. This was the film and monster The Blob. The Blob was produced on a budget of $110,000 and earned a box office of $4 million. This was the first film where Steve McQueen performed in a lead role. He was still credited as Stephen McQueen. Question 7. In 2001, Ivan Reitman gave up slime for Head & Shoulders, and the shampoo was the weapon of choice. That film is Evolution, starring David Duchovny and Julianne Moore. The adversaries in this film were initially microorganisms from a meteor crash that are able to live at such an accelerated rate that millions of years of evolution occur at a vastly compressed time span. The heroes of the film theorize selenium would be potentially toxic to the nitrogen-based creatures, and the active ingredient of Head and Shoulders is selenium sulfide. Question number 8. In December of 1999, a new fairy tale was created that somewhat explained the answer to stopping the bad guys. The princess screamed once, and they all died. But in the television episode, Buffy was the one doing the screaming. This is the classic Buffy the Vampire Slayer episode 10 from Season 4 titled Hush, where the gentlemen were defeated with a single scream. Joss Whedon says in the DVD commentary that another actress actually performed the 15-second-long extended yell called a scream, dubbed in for Sarah Michelle Gellar. There's definitely a lot more to be said about this episode, but I'll leave off here. Question 9. In 1978, Ronnie Desmond sang Puberty Love, and that song was the one thing the baddies couldn't withstand: Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Puberty Love beats Tomatoes. That's pretty close to another twofer, assuming you got the title exactly correct. I was mildly outraged that more people did not reference back to this when talking about Mars Attacks. The wiki page for Mars Attacks doesn't even mention Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. And you may not know that the singer credited in real life is Fu Cameron, which is a pseudonym for Matt Cameron. Matt Cameron was the drummer in Soundgarden and has been the drummer for Pearl Jam since 1999. He was ranked 52nd in Rolling Stone's 100 Greatest Rock Drummers list and was inducted as a member of Pearl Jam into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And finally, question 10. In 1993, the people stranded at the frozen research station are the ones who must race to figure out if you put two of the culprits in the same environment, they will actually kill each other. This is the 8th episode from the first season of The X-Files entitled Ice. The agents investigate deaths at an Alaskan research site and become victims of the paranoia affecting everyone there. The culprit appears to be a long-frozen species of parasitic worms that cause the host to become irrational, paranoid, and violent. If two worms are introduced to the same host, they kill each other, effectively curing the host. This episode was strongly influenced by John Carpenter's The Thing, and the art director for The X-Files, starting from the previous episode, was also a member of the art department on The Thing. So how did you do? I hope you enjoyed both the questions episode as well as this answers episode. I hope you'll be able to let me know either via email at idjitcastpodcast@gmail.com, on the comments for the YouTube version, or at the original episode post at nimlast.org. I'll be returning to Gravity Falls tomorrow. Hopefully, if you come up against some gremlins, zombies, or tomatoes before next time, you now know what to do. Happy hunting! You've been listening to the One Idjit's Thoughts On podcast, produced by Paul Mackey in association with Nimlas Studios. Any short clips of audio from shows is included under fair use for commentary purposes, and copyright for that content remains with its original copyright holders. The theme song is Too Good by Jack Mangan and is used by his generous permission. One Idjit's Thoughts is produced under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License. You can find more episodes of this podcast and many other fine podcasts at nimlast.org. You can contact me by emailing idjitcastpodcast@gmail.com or commenting on episodes at nimlast.org. Now, ChatGPT told me Emma Caulfield did the scream, but that appears to be supported literally nowhere else.